Alright, I think we're live. Just go ahead and post the stream real quick. Get some people in here. Make sure I set this to public, not private like I do occasionally. And we're all good. Alright, we're all here. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one on the list is going to be an A1466 that I took out of the box without putting a label on it. And that is very, very bad. So I'll be right back while I put a label on this. Because we would not want a MacBook that did not have a label on it. Because a MacBook that does not have a label in it in a shop that gets dozens of MacBooks a day is not a very good thing. So we're going to go ahead and make sure to put a label on this MacBook. And this one is a special MacBook because this one is an A1466, no backlight, with a previous repair attempt. And previous repair attempts can be a pain. So, let's go ahead and get started on this. So, MacBook Air, no backlight. And I have multiple reasons to be happy about this week, but one of them is the original Amtech NC559V2 with the lovely pine scent is finally back. So we have a nice new label here. It looks like there was some kind of split from Inventec and Amtech, but here's our nice new labels. And this is the real Flux back again, and that makes me very happy because the NC559V2 has been not the same for a long, long time, and what it looks like is Caleb looks like he has an irrational fear of the Energizer Bunny, so that's interesting. But what Amtech did is they basically were selling NC559 ASM as V2, and they discontinued V2 and still sold it as V2, and I'm going to be doing a dedicated video on that soon. But first off, let's go ahead and see what this board does. So this is reported as a no backlight issue. Now, many of you guys know we have a few different backlight states on the A1466. So, let's see. Especially at night, those bunnies change, that's right. Okay, so A1466, no backlight. 40 to 50 volts, bad screen, bad cable. That usually means that there's no load on the screen or no load on the circuit. 25 to 27 volts means our circuit is working. We probably can't see. So in that case, probably best to go see the ophthalmologist. 8 volts, it's not boosting. 18 volts, it's partially boosting. That means the same thing. Bad backlight driver, bad feedback trace, something along those lines. Let's go ahead and see what this one is. So I'm going to go ahead and measure backlight, and 0 volts, either blown fuse, not being enabled, or short to ground. And I have 0 volts. So if we have 0 volts, that crosses out a few things on our list. Well, one, do we even have image? Because if we don't have image, we're not going to get backlight. We need to check for image. So a lot of times people will say, oh, my MacBook has no backlight, and they actually have a no image issue. Now, your backlight's not going to be enabled until the CPU tells it to be enabled. So let's go ahead and check for backlight. And I do see an image on the screen here, so if we shine, you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but there is an image here. You can kind of see that little login icon there. So this is a no backlight issue. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and glance over the board because this said burn connector on motherboard replaced, backlight is still out. So let's go ahead and see what we find under the microscope for a burned connector. Is our connector really burned? I don't know. We're going to find out here. So that's not a good thing. Let's go ahead and make sure our camera gets turned on. There we go. There's our camera. And let's go ahead and have a look. So, let me know if you guys see anything funny. Yeah, we see a few things funny, don't we? So first off, connector burned. All right, I see a burned connector. So that's interesting there, that burn there, but that doesn't really look that bad. Usually when we see this, it's usually because our connector burns here, and that's not the case here. This looks beautiful, looks beautifully clean. So it's not that, but I can clearly see carbon in this connector, so this is no good. Okay, now look at this. This is destroyed. It's all melted in here. I could tilt this at an angle and show you, but it's destroyed in here. So let's see if I can try and show you this without knocking stuff over. So basically what I want to make a point here is, yeah, you could see it. It's burned. Okay, it's seen better days. Oh, come on. Alright, anyway, you guys get the point. It's burned. And what the shop did is they replaced the backlight fuse, as you can see there. Now, let me ask you something. Why does a fuse blow? Does a fuse just up and open? Probably not. And look at that, it's so cool, the light curtain. So a fuse is not just going to open one day. I mean, it can from sulfur deposits. I've seen it once or twice. But it's not likely. It's very rare. So if you replace the fuse and it keeps blowing, you got a problem. And that problem is probably a burnt connector or a short somewhere. Let's measure for a short to ground, and we may get one, we may not, because it might have already burned itself out. Oh, look at that, 91 ohms to ground. Now, 91 ohms to ground can be fine in some circuits. Now, a circuit that handles 50 volts, that is not fine. That is a short to ground, and that is a problem. Very clearly a problem. So what we are going to go ahead and do, we need to pull this board out. We need to replace this connector. We need to replace that fuse again because, what do you know, it blew again. Don't just blindly replace a fuse, guys. If you see if you see a blown fuse, you need to check for a short. You need to solve your short circuit before replacing the fuse again, because the fuse is going to do its job and it's going to blow again. That's what fuses do. So anyway, let's go ahead and pull this board out. I'm going to grab a magnet here to get these screws all squared away. And where's my screwdrivers? Here they are. Let's go to chat real quick. Jim Hook is here. Sonia's here. Anel is here. Unfortunately, Caleb looks like he wants me to fight him when he gets to work tomorrow, which is probably unfortunate because I'm probably not going to be here until later in the day, because I'm probably going to be fixing MacBooks late into the night, which is okay. MacBooks need to be fixed, and there's many. No, it's not reverse probe. It's a short. There's many boxes of MacBooks that I'm buried under, and there's barely any slots here. So I need to get through these MacBooks relatively quickly, which is a good thing. I like when there's lots of MacBooks to fix. So this stream is kind of like bringing me back to old days, because we have old NC559 with the pine scent. We have an A1466, an A203437, which is one of the first boards I learned on. We have a backlight issue. This brings me back. This really brings me back to the time when people sent me fixable stuff and not just T2 stuff that's been screwed with and sent to someone that was quote-unquote cheaper. This brings me back. It gets old hearing that, oh, I sent it to someone cheaper and they couldn't fix it. And now you have to fix it. And now I can't fix it because someone reflowed the CPU. Tim Leonardi's here. So let's get our board out. Now, typically when our connector burns like this, there's more flux everywhere here. All right, so this is a good learning experience here. So our backlight driver has also been replaced, and all this has been done without checking for a short. So again, know your backlight states, okay? I'm going to repeat them again. It may sound like a broken record, but I need to get this clear. 0 volts, open circuit, or short. Usually, if it's 0 volts, your fuse is blown. Now, how does a fuse blow? Usually from a short to ground. Now, the question is what causes a short to ground? What can actually cause a short to ground or cause a sudden inrush of current is plugging the screen in with the battery connected. Your backlight circuit runs off PP bus G3 hot. If your battery is connected, PP bus G3 hot is present. You plug that screen in, there's going to be a sudden load on the circuit, the fuse is going to pop. That's one way your fuse can blow. Another way is if you have a short to ground somewhere. In this case, the connector. The connector shorted to ground, blew the fuse. Okay, 0 volts, blown fuse, short to ground, etc. Not the backlight driver. If we look at our schematic, we could see that backlight. I'm not going to pull it up or anything because this is, this is basic, but our backlight is sourced off PP bus G3 hot. So if we measure backlight output and we get PP bus G3 hot voltage, essentially 8.56 volts, that means we're not boosting. How the circuit works is it's a switching boost circuit that changes 8 volts into 50 volts. And when you have some load, it brings it down when it's working. So if you have 8 volts, that means the chip isn't doing anything. Why is it? I don't know. Maybe it's bad. Maybe the feedback trace is blown. Something happened. So if we have 0 volts, we're not going to replace our backlight driver. It's almost never the backlight driver. Let's look. I feel like I have a sneeze coming on. I hate that feeling. Okay. Alright, so this looks fine. I don't see any abnormal replacement here. I gotta switch my eyepieces to the 10X. I'm using 20Xs, and 20X is not, it's harder because you guys see something totally different. So, this has been replaced, and it's probably been replaced because the original technician suspected it was bad. Everything here is fine. I'm just looking to see if I see any signs of liquid, because every time I get a case, I piece together in my head what happened. How did it become this way? What in the world happened here? But we do have a blown connector, so maybe they changed the screen, they plugged the cable back in, I don't know. But we have a short to ground. Can we inject voltage to find the short to ground? Absolutely. But we know we have a burned connector, and we're going to take it off. It's not the NC559 V3 yet. This is still V2, but I heard they're coming out with V3, but look at this. It's so beautiful. It's just like 2017. It's beautiful. I feel like I'm dreaming. This whole fixing an A1466 with no backlight and having original NC559 again, it's like dreaming. It's like this isn't real. Look at that. It's so beautiful. It melts. It has little granules in it of rosin or whatever. It's absolutely beautiful. There's our connector. Come on. I'll show you guys the inside of it. Oh yeah, look at that. That's seen better days. Look at that. So that's where our short to ground is. That's why our fuse is blown. That's all no good. Yeah. So, yeah. That's why, and I bet if we were to measure again, we're not going to have a short to ground anymore. Caleb says, sorry, this is a dream. I wouldn't doubt it. And we have, on this side now, what do we have? We're going to have millions of ohms. 31 million ohms. There we go. So 31 million ohms, our short is gone. So let's go ahead and get a new connector soldered on, and let's go ahead and get this sad fuse off, because this fuse is going to be blown. I guarantee you this fuse is blown. So this fuse is, just like I said, blown. So there's that. Let's go ahead and clean this. We'll get a little flux here. Ready for this? Look at that flux. That is beautiful. If I need to show you guys the comparison of what this is. Okay, let's do something. This is what Amtech flux from 2017 looks like. Okay, look. It's nearly identical to this. Oh, of course you couldn't see it here. All right, this is 2017 flux. All right, that's 2017 flux. And recent 559, the crappy stuff that's been in use since 2018, looks like this. It's totally different. It is not even remotely the same, okay? Let's just put a little on the shield so you can see it. Okay, this is crap. That's the crap. This is the new stuff. This is the new 559. Okay, look at that. And then here's the old 559. This is the good stuff as well before it sucked. Oh, no, it's not. This is the crap stuff again. Where's my... Here we go. All right, so this is the good... This is the new good stuff. This is the crap. This is the crap. And this is the old good stuff. Look at that. Imagine that. But anyway, I'm very, very happy to have that back. And like I said, this flux is so good, it doesn't even feel like it's... It doesn't even... Yeah, having this back is like a dream, I swear. All right, let's just go ahead and get this fuse off and get this flux burned. You could see how they melt differently too. Look at that. See how there's granules in the real V2? Look at how when it melts, look at the difference in the fluxes. Look at that. So this is pretty much the same. The new and old is pretty much the same, but the other one is, look at that. Look at the difference in that. That's amazing. That's a huge difference. I need to do a dedicated video on this. Amtech refunded me for my order. Totally. And I don't know why. But I need to do a good video for them. I don't know the politics of what happened with their company, but I guess Amtech split from Inventec. So this is Amtech Direct on here. AmtechDirect.com, but Inventec may still be producing the other stuff under Amtech's name. So I don't know, but this is the good stuff. This is the original stuff. All right, it's time for NL to go bye-bye. Yep, bye-bye NL. No more mod. No more mod. Remove moderator. There we go. No more moderator for you. The expired flux is basically just like the new flux. And here's the thing. Anel has not fixed a board in a time where he had real flux. All right. NC559 was crap when Anel started fixing boards. Anel was never around when we had the good stuff. It smells like pine sol. It smells really good. I like this. It makes me not want to turn on my fume extractor. Flux does contain acid. Yeah, flux does have acid in it. That's why you should clean it regardless if they say it's a no clean or not. All right, connector time. Yeah, Anel's behavior is getting progressively worse, and it's almost time to consider posting his number on r/memes. So if you guys think we should do that, just let us know. All right, let's go ahead and grab a new connector. Oh, look at this. You know, when you order connectors from a certain place that also has a supply store that just so happens to have an employee named Anel, this is the kind of LVDS connectors you get when you order from there. This is just a new pack that I just realized. I just remembered about this. But yeah, if you order from a certain repair store that has a supply store with a certain employee named Anel working there, and you order LVDS connectors, this is what kind of package you get. Yeah, you get a nice greeting, for a nice good thank you for buying connectors. So we're gonna go ahead and get a fresh new connector. All right. Oh, these are beautiful. They have a little nub that aligns it. Look at that. Okay, this has to be not real. This has to be some kind of a weird dream, because I have not had connectors like this in a long time. The connectors that I've been getting for probably a year and a half now have not had those little aligning tabs. There's these little tabs on the connector that align them. Okay, there's these little tabs right here that align them into the board. They go in, right in there. And for a long time, they haven't had those. So they're a lot harder to align. Yeah, I'm not convinced that this is reality. Anyway. Some nice NC559 V2 in here. That sounds like a good way to get some kind of a lung disease, Kopaz. Just my aligning tabs down. Gotta get more flux on this side. It's probably not good that I'm breathing this. Come on. I know you want to do it. There we go. All right, we'll come and make it pretty later. I just want to get it tacked down. I do work during the day, and it's not really up late. It's 10:16 p.m. No, it's not V3. V3 hasn't been released yet, but word on the street is it's being made. I routinely work after hours like this. It's totally normal behavior for me. Alright, I better turn on my fume extractor. This is stupid. Alright, we're just gonna drag our iron across here. We're gonna make these pins nice and pretty. Ow, I just burned myself. And we have a one pin that just kind of fell over. There we go. You're fixed. Now, these connectors don't seem like they're very durable. These aren't IPEX made by IPEX. I don't know who makes this connector. Although I do appreciate those alignment tabs, the pins on these feel very flimsy. I'm not quite sure I like that. Normally I could drag solder them without the pins getting messed up. Look at this. Yeah, I don't like these connectors. Should be able to drag solder these without any pins coming off like that. V3 for the like 10 millionth time has not been released yet. Now note, I want to move this little bridge right to our backlight pins right there. Okay. Just want to make sure every pin has a good amount of solder and is well connected. Just like that. That bridge is good to be there. I want it there. Just want to make all these guys, I want to make sure all these guys fully connected. They have a beautiful crisp solder joint. And all these look good. Let's go ahead and do our posts now. Our posts are the hardest because these boards do pull a lot of heat from the iron. But as long as you have a good iron, these aren't a problem. And do not use that frickin' laser soldering deal that's being praised on Facebook repair groups, okay? You will cause eye damage, and I'm not going to feel sorry for you if you go ahead and buy one of those soldering lasers and then burn your eyes out because, you know, I told you so. Anyway, let's just look. Always look at an angle at your pins. Make sure they're nice and beautiful, because you would not want wouldn't want to miss something, because sometimes these pins could be bridged or otherwise just not connected, and you will miss that unless you look at it from an angle. And all these look immaculate, so we're good here. We did miss one right here, this ground pin. Just like that. Beautiful. This one could be heat soaked a little bit more. Beautiful. All good, all good, all good. This looks perfect. Let's go ahead and put our fuse on now. Can overheating damage the connector? Oh, with hot air? Absolutely. From normal heat from the device? No. From, yeah, heating it too much with hot air can absolutely damage the connector. Very easily. 265 Celsius, the nylon in that connector will melt. There's that. Let's get a new backlight fuse. Backlight fuse. All right. There's this. Come on. There we go. We are good to go. Now, before I plug our connector in, I want to clean this up because plugging a connector in full of flux isn't really a good idea. So, we're going to clean this to the best that we can. Now, keep in mind, this will be fully ultrasonically cleaned. I just want to clean some of this flux out of it so it's easier to plug in the connector and so it doesn't cause any issues. Sometimes flux can cause issues if left on the board, although rare, especially on backlight and other high voltage, high impedance circuits. You can definitely have issues there, so we want to clean all this up. And also, we're going to clean our connector after the board is ultrasonically cleaned. I mean, our cable, because there's going to be flux residue, and it's always best to keep it very clean. But that should be good enough to test. And I'm pretty sure I always, okay, so I see two things that concern me here. I see this area was under a ton of heat, and how do I see that? Well, this is burned, and the chip is going to be fine. I mean, the silicon can take a lot of heat. But this is burned. I want to put some flux in this area and give it a little reflow just in case some solder has been degraded. Bridge on far right, that is supposed to be there. That is our backlight pins, and I want that bridge there. Alright, so this little guy is going to be fine, but it has overfill over it. And anytime you heat it like that, there's always a chance those balls will kind of lift up. So I'm going to blow my heat away from these other overfilled components. Dance, little guy, you could do it. There we go. Give the backlight driver a little. Good to go. I'm glad to hear, Jim. No, the bridge is supposed to be there. I want the bridge there. These are our backlight. That's our two backlight pins, and I want those to look exactly like they are. See on the board? They're connected. That's common practice, and we're good to go there. There's no other bridges here that I can see. Look at the quality joints that this produces too with this flux. I mean, it's just so much better. It really is. Alright, so let's go ahead and plug this in and let's see what it does. And also, we're, yeah, I don't know if anyone cares or is following the thermal paste deal. We were going to be releasing a general use type paste. We still are, however, I really don't want to release it until the performance is better than the stock paste. And a lot of people say, oh, well, the stock paste sucks. The stock paste is terrible. No, it is not. So if you have like pretty much any MacBook with a dual GPU, look at your wattage under full load, not temperature, not frequency, wattage. Look at your wattage under full load with the stock thermal paste, and then use something like MX4 or any of the thin thermal paste off the market. What you're going to see is your wattage is going to be a bit lower. So like let's say on a 47 or 47 watt CPU that boosts to like 50 or so, with the Apple paste, you're going to be staying at the boost stock. You're going to be, at the boost clock. You're going to be staying right around 48, good to go. With like MX4 or anything, you're going to be running consistently lower than that, 40s, 30s, whatever, because those thin viscosity pastes are not very good for the inaccurate heat sinks on dual GPU laptops. So Apple, from the factory, uses this stuff. This is Shinichi Micro C X something or other. Now, this stuff is special. And a lot of people, including myself, when they take apart an Apple laptop, they see the thermal paste, they're like, oh, this is dried out. This is no good. Not true. So this stuff right here is designed to pretty much last many, many years. And the reason why it looks like that, it's supposed to. All right, so the only time the moisture detection spots matter is for warranty. So I just want to show you guys this real quick, and then I'll shut up about thermal paste. But this is the original paste that is used on the Apple laptop from the factory, okay? So I don't want to waste too much of it because it is expensive. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit here. Okay, it's a metallic, it's aluminum and zinc oxide based. And take a look, it's nice and smooth, right? Look at that, it has nice coarse particles in it. It's very metallic-y looking. It's very pliable, right? Alright, now the reason why is there's a flash-off chemical in it. It's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be, nice and pliable and until it's placed under heat. Heat the processor up for 10 minutes or so. And in this case, I'm just going to heat it at 245 degrees. Alright, so we're just going to heat it, and we're going to watch this consistency. Now keep in mind, this will not be enough time to dry it out, but it is going to be enough time to evaporate that flash-off chemical, where it will provide best thermal performance. And it looks like I'm dropping a ton of frames. Am I currently dropping frames? Is the stream good? Everything alright? Alright, we're back. So what I was saying is, this was not enough time to dry out the paste, but what we will see is the paste is basically dried out in the consistency that you see it on the laptops. And if we heated it for longer, it would be the same. But this stuff will turn hard and dry after 10 minutes of use. Okay? That does not mean it is dried up. Right, it's supposed to do that, and there's a reason for it. It's supposed to harden and fill those grooves of the heatsink. All of the thermal pastes like MX4, Arctic Silver 5, anything like that, those are oil-based pastes, and when they heat up, the viscosity changes, and when you have an inaccurate gap in that heatsink, it's not going to really work well. So the whole idea of that paste is to kind of harden and fill that gap permanently, so it stays the same viscosity. So the thermal paste, the regular gray stuff that we've produced has been on par with like MX4 and other stuff on the market. And I'm not going to release something that is on par with other stuff on the market. I want to release something that's better than the stuff on the market. So we're not there yet, but we're getting there, and I don't have a prospective date of when that will be, but when it is, I'll be happy. But I'm not going to release something that I want it to be as good or if not better than the original paste for these devices. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and plug this in and see if it works. So if anybody is watching this on an Apple laptop, the answer is no, you do not need to repaste your Apple laptop instantly. And two, when you see that your temperatures are lower after you've repasted the original stock paste, chances are because it is thermal throttling and your wattage is lower. Lower wattage, lower temperature. Wattage is more accurate than temperature. Do not pay attention to temperature in a modern Intel CPU. They always run at 100, 105 degrees. That's how they're supposed to be. Okay, we plugged our connector in. Put our fuse on. Let's go ahead and see if this works. Caleb, I think your buddy that texts you every night at 11 p.m. is screwing with your internet. Alright, give me backlight, please. Yusuf is here. Time to release your own flux. I thought about that, but flux is a pain. It's not as simple as thermal paste. There we go. We have backlight. So this was a case that a shop got this, and they replaced the backlight fuse, and it blew again because the connector was burned. And they replaced the backlight driver. That didn't make any difference, because why would it? But this is fixed. We're going to dip this in the ultrasonic cleaner, and this is good. Let's see. Let it boot into the OS. Fans are on high because the trackpad and I/O board's unplugged, but that is totally fine. I did think about making a solder paste and kind of having that dry paste consistency that we all love. So that's a thought. Not easier than flux alone. But are we booting into recovery or just taking a long time? I swear, almost every time I do a stream or a video, it starts up in recovery, but no, it's there. Just slow because again, it's throttled because our trackpad connector's unplugged, but this is good to go. Alright, so that is one fixed. We'll go ahead and grab another. Let me just get this heatsink off and throw this in the ultrasonic. Actually, since Caleb is watching this, this was a bulk order, Caleb. You can look in the repair shopper if you want. But I'm just going to mark the unit 1 on the keyboard and the board as well. I'm going to mark it right above the JTAG as 1. Should probably keep that in private message, but why not? Alright, so is Amtech a big company? I don't know. I guess when they were with Inventec, they were. Okay, I guess I'll wait for ultrasonic, because that's going to screw up the stream. Oh boy, we don't have many slots available. Alright, now I have another board in here that I got to take out. This one is probably dead, to be honest, and we need to run it again on this side. But let's go grab another air. No way, another backlight? How did I get 2 no backlights in a row? That's incredible. It's a pleasant change from the usual T2 nonsense. And if everybody's wondering, that sound is the ultrasonic. just wipe down my station real fast. I think Amtech was a big company. I don't know. I have honestly no idea. I don't know what their position is after their split. Alright, let's actually confirm this is a no backlight. Because I would hate to troubleshoot a no image issue right now. Bryce is here. Alright, so I have no light on the charger. It's just... oh yeah, the DCN board looks like garbage. That's probably why we have no light on the charger. Try and clean it, but this looks rough. This happens. This is pretty common to get arcs on MagSafe connectors. I don't know about MagSafe 3, but I know 1 and 2 were. It's pretty common. And oftentimes, if you lose your light on the charger, just need a little cleaning. But in this case, there's no light on the charger, so this is not just a no backlight issue. This is a total dead no power issue. I knew we weren't going to get lucky. Ultrasonic, is that a basketball team? I'm not quite sure what that means. No, I mean, they might mean no backlight on the charger, no green light on the charger. Wait, Caleb's working for Bryce now? I should have went by Bryce's store on Saturday, because I was in Santa Clarita. It would have been fun to cause problems in that store. Next time I'll keep that in mind. Bryce, do you have employees that I could just walk in there and give a hard time? That would be fun to cause a problem in your shop. I was tired after climbing up. No, I didn't really climb the mountain. But I was kind of... I wasn't really tired. Oh, that's... Okay, so it's... Alright. Okay, this is off to a good start. Come in on weekdays. Okay, I'll go in there and how's this? I'll come into your store and I'll have a meltdown and it's up to your employee to deal with it. That sounds like a great way to pass time. So, first off, our battery stuck to our bottom cover. Not a good thing when your battery stuck to your bottom cover. Second of all, I see a wire run with no flux. Third of all, I see my DC in plug, my DC in cable unplugged with our camera cable unplugged. Look at that. It's beautiful. Who got banned? Somebody was mean. Oh, no, Brian. Typical spam. So, yeah. Of course. So, let's go ahead and plug this in. Actually, let's go over what work was done here, because this kind of makes me want to pull my hair out a little bit. But let's go ahead and have a look here. So, there is signs of connector replacement. And there is signs that the connector is not soldered properly. No, it is. Not soldered. No. What is this? Come on, bro. This is the original connector too. And don't even tell me I'm gonna find this burned. Of course I'm gonna find this burned. Alright, so... No, this might be alright. We have multiple problems on this board and enclosure. So let's get started on this. Let's just go ahead and take this out. Yeah, this stream is slowly turning into a nightmare, Caleb. That's absolutely right. This is just how it always goes in my dreams. They start out well, and then they just slowly, progressively go down the hole. Again, this reminds me of starting and doing this stuff on my own. This whole stream is like, okay, A1466, check. Original flux, check. Crappy soldering that you probably did as a 15-year-old, check. It's good to go. Blast from the past. Alright, Bryce, so how am I going to troll your employee? Just walk in and have a fit, or what? Should I bring a MacBook? Should I throw a MacBook? Go away. No call. No, that's the thing. Real life is usually a nightmare. So, yeah, this is slowly progressing into real life. Why? Thou shalt not clean board before sending for repair. It's alright, there's hints. Bring a broken one and be like, I bought this in mint condition, and after your boss touched it, it won't boot. Eyesight connector isn't bad. It's bad when you rip all the pads on it, which I've done mistakenly. So, first off, let's go over a few things on this board. One, we have liquid damage. Ultrasonic cleaning is usually not... I don't think you super chatted me, Kopaz. So we have more than one thing to fix on this. One, the SMC Reset IC looks like garbage. Alright, we have some nasty looking pins. We could probably get away with just cleaning this. Little flux and heat. Second of all, this jumper, no. This fuse, no. All this has got to go. This connector, no. So anytime your connector has liquid damage, please don't just... Anytime this connector is burned like this, discard it. Don't run a wire to it. Throw it away, get a new one. So let's go ahead and get this connector off, this capacitor, all this stuff off of my board. What kind of... This is stranded wire. Don't use this kind of wire on a board, please. No. Enamel coated. 37 gauge for this. 36 gauge is fine. There's that. I don't trust this capacitor. This fuse I definitely don't trust. Yeah, look at that. Terrible. This guy, we just SMC Reset chip. We need some flux. No, I don't trust this. Yeah, we'll replace that in a minute. Alright, so first things first, let's clean this up. There's a few things we need to address here. We have some trace damage. Bob, believe me, I've cracked something. Well, I've probably cracked a $400 display. I have cracked a $400 display. What I've also had to do is when an employee that came before Caleb was changing a battery, they used alcohol with the lid closed, and alcohol got into a $700 A1990 display at the time, which ruined it, which sucks. I remember when he handed me and said, "All done." And I opened the lid and it was full of alcohol, and then I turned it on and it's like, yeah. We should take the flight to New York together. Are you flying out? Are you going to New York? I'm down. Go to the MacBook class. I'll be there. It might be the last MacBook class. I don't know. But... when I go, I fly Southwest out of Burbank, usually on Sunday. I'll go. And then it's usually stop in Phoenix or Las Vegas. I hate Las Vegas airport. And then to Buffalo. I fly into Buffalo. Why am I saying this on stream? I should not be talking about this on stream, but whatever. I fly into Buffalo Airport, and then I drive to Rochester. This was not from Lewis. No, this was not from Lewis. Although, if Anel did something like this, it would not surprise me one bit. Cool. Yeah, that'll be fun. I'll message you, and we'll set something up. That's funny. I love flying, and I personally love when there's turbulence, because turbulence makes the time go by faster. Las Vegas airport is terrible. It is packed. It is filled with people that just lost their life savings. It is filled with grumpy people that have not showered in days. It is terrible. I mean, okay, telling somebody I fly into Buffalo Airport isn't really a big secret. It's like, yeah, I flew into Buffalo Airport. What are you going to do? There's like 10,000 people in that airport. I'm old enough to gamble, but I'm not stupid enough to gamble. So. Alright, so I see some carbon here. It's very, very minor. We're not going to touch this. Maybe we'll touch this. Nah. I'm on the fence. I don't like to touch boards like this if I don't have to. No, this is fine. And I'm pretty sure this guy next door is an NC. We'll double check. So... yeah, I make bets with Caleb off of stuff, and I usually win. Oh, wait, no, it goes the other way around. Oh, yeah, that's right. It goes the other way around. Shoot. But I guess when you employ somebody and lose a bet to them, you don't really have to follow through. Yeah, the one next door, it's an NC, which is totally fine. So... and yes, there is a casino. There's many slot machines in Las Vegas Airport, which makes it worse. Not gonna lie, usually when I fly to New York, I fall asleep and sleep the whole way. And it's perfect. It's one of those things about going on an airplane that it's just instant PM sleep S4L goes missing. Not even kidding. Like almost on every single flight that I've been on in the last several years, it's instant once I get on. Fall asleep. These resistors here are ugly, but we can take care of these with a little bit of flux and solder. Copaz 10 rework board. Here's something for the misery. Thank you, Copaz. I appreciate it. Hello, Tim. I'm giving you the week off to get drunk and have fun. Enjoy yourself. The thing is I can't take this next week off. I have too many MacBooks to fix. So count is to fix MacBooks. Alright, this resistor's gotta go. See how that just came off like that? That's how we know it's no good. Caleb, why would you be scared to fly? You're older than me. I guess age doesn't really matter in that case. We're not children. Caleb, if you were scared to fly, I'd probably laugh at you. I don't like this resistor either. Anytime I see any damage to the end caps resistors, they gotta go. CRJ 200 is not that small. Yeah, actually it is. I was thinking 700. CRJ 200 is pretty small. Yep, see that one too. If I can just touch a resistor and it flings off, it's no good. I don't care if it measures normally. If it just flings off as soon as I touch my iron to it, it's gotta go. Mic. Is my mic dying? Somebody other than Caleb, is my mic dying? Okay. A1466 donor board. Here we go. That's I do laugh at resistors that explode because it's funny. Yeah, I don't like cramped aircraft either. So, I don't know why this has no backlight yet. And I'm going to guess once we clean up all this mess, it's still going to have no backlight. Because all the work that I've seen here looked bad, but it doesn't look bad enough to cause an issue. So, my guess is that connector was bad. But I kind of still think we're going to have an issue on the other side. I know those aren't soldered perfectly. That's totally fine. We're going to flow them into place once we're done. Alright, there's that. So, there is corrosion on the keyboard backlight, but not the backlight driver, and that's because, look at our backlight driver. It's been cleaned. And I already see something very concerning here. So this has got to go, and this looks like the original backlight driver as well. So I think they might have just reflown it and not actually replaced it. Yeah, feedback trace might have an issue. So there's that. Everything else looks fine here. So, I guess connector time. Let's put our fuse on first. I'd like to fly an airplane. Alright. By the way, Caleb, how's your ThinkPad doing? I heard you got a ThinkPad. Okay, it's connector time. Caleb, does he really? Does he own an airplane? Alright, so here's our connector. We're going to start off with the same thing, a nice addition of our beautiful NC559. And I'm going to do my posts first. Why make it hard on ourselves when we can make it easy on ourselves? There's one. I'm getting tired because you could tell I'm having trouble speaking now. But you don't really need to speak to fix MacBooks. You just need to be able to fix MacBooks. Fixing MacBooks can be done without sleeping. I mean, talking. And sleeping. So, if you remember before with this new type of connector, they're kind of a little bit flimsy on our pin holders inside the connector, so we're just going to go pin by pin. I'm not going to try and drag solder it. Some definite oxidation on these little guys here. I don't get excited about any kind of computers, phones, whatever. These are our two pins that I want bridged. There's an NC, our last one here, and now we'll go back over here. Let's do our posts. There's that. There's this one. Now this one. I'm gonna come back on that one at a different angle. Good to go. Good to go. All right, let's clean this up. We gotta run a little wire. So let's do that first. Let me run my little wire. We're gonna use a 37 gauge is good enough. No issues with 37 gauge whatsoever. I wonder how many times I've done this same exact repair with with this wire here. I'm gonna guess a lot. Hundreds, I'm sure. Come on, little wire. Little wire doesn't want to cooperate. Discord? I'm gonna make no notes, so you have no idea what to do. No, just kidding. I'm gonna do Google Calendar stuff and Discord before I go to sleep, and then I have to edit a video before I go to sleep once I get home. I'll probably get home between the hours of 2 and 3 a.m., maybe later. Then I have to edit a video, do notes, and then I go to sleep, and then I'm gonna show up to work sometime tomorrow. And then I'm gonna start this process all over again, which is very good. Alright, so there is our wire here. We're gonna conformal coat the whole thing anyway, so I just want to position him like this and over to here. And the goal, what I'm shooting for, is to have this wire in between these two pins, not at the edge. I want it to be suspended in that bridge. That is perfect. If you can see that, that is exactly what I want. Just like that when I do this repair. That is textbook. That is beautiful. How many times, okay, Caleb, how many times has it been that you have not been able to decrypt my half asleep notes? I'm going to guess never. I do not think I've ever left unlegible notes. Maybe I'm wrong. This might end up a meme. Everything looks good here. We're good to go. Let's go ahead and ready our SMC reset area. Come on, little oxidation. I know you want to leave. Alright. And I made another big blob where I did not want a big blob. Oh well. I should be calling it a night too, Greg, but I got MacBooks to fix. Alright, bye-bye now. Get out of my chat. No more. Oh shoot, did I ban someone that I wasn't supposed to? No, it wasn't now. And now, I've seen how you repair boards. We had to delist the stream because it would make a bad image for my company. So, I'm not the one, you're not the one to speak. There, much better. A little bit more solder, then I could go ahead and drop a chip on. Let's go find a donor board that has an SMC Reset chip on it. That's going to be a challenge. No SMC Reset, no SMC Reset. No SMC Reset. No SMC Reset either. Ha, SMC Reset. SMC Reset. Okay. Stupid phone. Playing reels automatically. Okay, 34, 37, I need this orientation. Dot in the top left corner. There's that. Did we lose? Did I lose audio? No. Alright, now the last one is our backlight driver. Then we gotta really clean this work mat. And then hopefully we fix one more error tonight. Look at that resistor. So we'll assess how that looks after we wick. I'm more concerned about our feedback area, so I'm going to check our feedback trace. Something it's super simple to do. So I'm just going to check between these two. Good. Good. Feedback is not our issue. Perfect. There's that. Let's get a new driver on here. We got plenty of flux. It is getting late. And I'm dropping viewers by the moment. Come back here, little backlight driver. That's good. I think we're just about ready to test. Let me clean my connector out. We got everything replaced. Everything looks decent. I just got to clean my connector. We got to clean our cable. And then hopefully we should be good to go with any luck. And then this is another one for the ultrasonic. We'll do conformal coat after ultrasonic cleaning. Alright, I gotta clean my station off. My station is absolutely disgusting. So let's clean that off. This, move my chips. Alright. So, chances are our screen is fine. We do have some corrosion on our connector, but it doesn't look like our connector is actually burned. So, let's have a look. So, oftentimes these will get really, really ugly and they will physically burn and you'll see the pins burned. That's not the case here, it's just corroded. And if it's just corroded, I should be able to easily clean this with a little bit of acetone and it'll be beautiful. Could be totally wrong, but let's see. Looks pretty good. Gotta clean it. I want to chase it with a little isopropanol, because acetone evaporates so quickly. This is fine. Chipped is fine. Yeah, this is totally fine, and I need to trim my nails. Yeah, this is fine. Alright, let's go ahead and test it, and let's see. So, let's let the viewers decide this. Do you guys want to see another repair tonight, or should I get out of here? Another repair, or no more repair? I got it plugged in. So should we repair another MacBook or call it a night? Who are we kidding? I'm going to repair another MacBook. It's just going to be either on stream or off stream. Chat decides, on stream or off stream. Should we stream more or should we not stream anymore? Alright, I just plugged our board in. Fan is spinning, we have a light. Tell me that we have a Apple logo, something on our screen. That is a backlight. And we don't have an SSD in this, so it is not going to give us an Apple logo, but it should work. So I think that's a good time to call it a quit, honestly. We had 2 wins, and we should be good. So let's just wait for our question mark. Man, I just unplugged my connector. Might as well do another. Alright, let's see what I got. Alright, so we do have backlight. See that? Okay, fixed. Stream, fine, we'll stream. I just want this to give me a flashing question mark. That's it. Question mark. Because you guys can't really see backlight. I can see backlight, but you guys can't. There we go. Well, you saw it before I unplugged the connector again. Alright, so before I unplugged it, this works. So let's go ahead and get this squared away. So this needs battery screws. So we're not going to plug that in. This needs ultrasonic cleaning. This is unit 2, so I'm going to mark that. So we know, a little mark in the PCB here. Also it'll be washed off in ultrasonic. And all good. I usually don't, Tony. Caleb probably does, but that's not my department. Any software stuff I don't do. So there's this one. Needs ultrasonic. This needs ultrasonic. So we'll put that there. And I just got flux on my hand, and I hate getting flux on my hands. Alright, let's go see what we have. What is a good cherry pick? This might be a good cherry pick. There's one here that's a very bad cherry pick that I'm purposefully not picking. But let's see what this does. I think I have a board in the ultrasonic. Yes, I do. That's not good. It's actually fine because this has a dead CPU anyway. But gotta confirm. Alright. Water. My throat is getting dry. Green light on charger. You better not chime. You better not chime. You don't chime. Oh, this one is gross. This one is very gross. All right. What do we got? What do we got? I have signs of liquid. No fan spin. PP Best G3 hot. Measures nothing because my meter is screwed up. Let's unplug our battery. Always unplug our battery for any kind of testing like that. 8.58 volts. PM Sleep S4L. 0 volts. Alright, so next step is let's unplug our trackpad because our trackpad can definitely cause issues, and the keyboard on this has seen better days, I believe. So trackpad's unplugged. IO board is unplugged. Let's see if this works. And based on what I'm seeing here, I'm going to guess our fan is going to spin. No, our fan does not spin, so we actually do have a board issue. Let's go ahead and take the board out. So we do have a board issue. Liquid, where our keyboard is very crunchy, so that tells us there is liquid. Liquid did get in there. What is Anel doing now? Peter, is Anel being a jerk on Facebook? What did Anel do? I don't see what Anel did. But yes, Anel has called me multiple times during the course of this stream. Why is the camera cable routed under the board? Come on, people. Don't do that. Don't route stuff on. That's probably why it's not turning on, is because the camera cable is routed under the board and is shorting something. Everything is clean here. I will bet money that this was assembled like this, and I'm willing to bet that that camera shield is what is causing this. That starts to make me a little bit angry there, because come on. Why do you put the camera cable under the board? Nope, no fan spin. Alright, let's get into this. So that's a clue, because now we might have to investigate something that might have been shorted because somebody left the camera cable under the board. Anyway, so differential for PM Sleep S4L missing. Could be anything in the PCH support area. U1950, U1900, BIOS, JTAG, clock chip, anything of that sort can cause issues with PM Sleep S4L. I do see some liquid here, but that's minor. Everything else looks relatively okay. So that does make me somewhat sad, because why don't we have PM Sleep S4L, or why? I guess we haven't really dug into it yet, but we just gotta look really closely in this area for any signs of damage. And it looks okay, except for this right here. But this also, I mean, that's nothing. Okay, I have debris here. A part of the camera shield, imagine that. Now it's under that chip. Or is it? Where'd it go? It's like it just disappeared. Anyway, that went somewhere. But that was a piece of the camera shield that was shoved under the PCB. Shops that do this really kill me. Like, it really gets to me. The JTAG looks somewhat clean. Yeah, this is highly suggestive of a PCH issue, given the fact that there's really no liquid anywhere. I really don't want to go through the list of power rails on this, but I have to. Just want to check for obvious signs of anything, hoping that I'll score. But everything is clean. Alright, time to go down the list. So let's plug our DCM board in. Start at G3H rails and S5, S4, S3, S2, S1, S0. S1 is a thing on M1s, not this stuff. I have Strange One in hands. A1466 backlight works for 10 minutes and starts blinking on and off super fast. Voltages are normal. The only time I've seen that is when the LED driver is not soldered right. Check your soldering on the LED on the backlight driver. Okay, so no, I don't want to UC this. I don't want to UC this at all. Hmm, 3v3S5. So PP3v3S5 will show up on these caps right here. And what do we have? 3.38 volts. Alright, so next one, PP5VS5. S4 RS3 is missing. Of course it is, because our issue is PM Sleep S4L. PP5VS5 will show up on U7701 or U7501, something like that. Right around here. U7501, PP5VS5 is present. Got it. PP3V3. Aha, I think I got you. Right there on that crystal. You could do it. Crystals do not like that. It's present. Alright, look at this. So, this is how subtle liquid like this can cause. I'm pretty confident this is the issue. Alright, you see that little slight amount of liquid, that drop that got there? Alright, well our clock chip has some too on this side. Our clock chip might be fine. But that crystal, I do not trust, because that is corrosion there. And these crystals are super, super sensitive to that. So we're just going to give our clock chip a reflow, but this crystal's got to go. It's a little crystal oscillator. Right there. I would bet money. Well, I guess probably I shouldn't bet money. But this may be the issue. We'll just leave it at that. This could very well be the issue, and it's the only thing that fits on being the issue other than a dead CPU. Yep, damage to one of the pins. That fits. That fits very well. If we would have thrown that in the ultrasonic, we would not have caught that. Donor that has a crystal. Let's see. Should be plenty of those. These guys are kind of sensitive to heat, so be careful. Everything else looks pretty good to me. It definitely needs a bath, but other than that, it should be fine. Just put it over our fume extractor to cool it off for a minute. The only other thing that fits on a board that's clean like this is a dead CPU. I mean, how many times have we troubleshooted PM Sleep S4L on a clean board and it's been fixable? Almost never. Sigh. You're not gonna spin, are you, little fan? You're not gonna spin for me, are you? No, you're not gonna spin, are you? Do you want to spin? No, you don't want to spin. You don't want to spin, so it wasn't you, was it? Okay. That's depressing. Probably should just change the clock chip. Oops. Do I get a pulse on Sleep S4L? Probably not. I want to check. Always double check for a pulse. Yep, I did get a pulse. Okay. I did get a pulse for a brief And so that could be a short downstream. And you know what I've learned in an instance like this? Before you troll yourself for too long, always take off your heatsink, because oftentimes the PCHs on these will be exploded. And that's not a good thing if your PCH is exploded. But it could very well be our clock chip too, because the clock chip likes to die if it gets any liquid on it. Any signs of damage? Yep, no, is that? No, that's a drop of liquid or something. Okay, so negative findings on PCH. Huh. What could this possibly be? See how it looks like stuff kind of flowed out from under that clock chip? Let's replace the clock chip. I doubt it's bad, but you know what? I want to rule it out. And I don't want to get my oscilloscope out. Oh, look at that. Okay. So there was something here, it looks like, at one point in time. Is this an issue? I don't know. I'm going to go with probably not. But again, we won't know on a clock chip until we replace it. And oftentimes, even if we measure the clock output and it's fine, sometimes they die in a way that it's like, sometimes doesn't send out the output right and it causes issues, so. Around this pin too, there was some. Yeah, this definitely was hit with liquid. Look at that, right there. I wouldn't think that would be bad enough to do this, though. Alright. So the rabbit hole begins. Sad. Just I want to be getting into it at midnight. Clock chip. Where is clock chip? 1706. That one. Not that one either. Not that one either. Yeah, I never reuse clock chips, Copaz. And if this clock chip doesn't work, I think it's just about time for me to get off stream. Okay, this clearly had a chip in it. And now it doesn't. Where did it go? Did that reel just like go away? Here it is. It's on the floor. Of course it's on the floor. There's some corrosion around the SMC too, so we could flux and heat the SMC just right there, but I really doubt there'd be anything under here. It doesn't look like it at all. This looks like it might be something here. This chip looks suspicious. So this is going to be my next one. See that little bit of liquid right there? How has repair demand been lately? It has been fairly slammed right now. I mean, we basically don't have any room for any new slots, anything new, so yeah, it's pretty slammed. That doesn't mean we're not accepting work. I mean, just at this time right now, I mean, tomorrow it'll be down a bit because we'll get stuff out, but yeah, fan spin. No fan spin. No fan spin. Sad. Very, very sad. Alright, last thing I'm gonna replace is this here, because this looks ugly. Looks very ugly. And then this gets put in the later pile. Likely totally fine, but we can't be sure until we replace it. And that chip, I've seen that chip plenty of times cause PM Sleep S4L issues, even if it's just a little bit corroded, so. Alright, let it cool down, and if it doesn't work, then that's it for tonight. Should be cool enough now. Let's go ahead and try it. Again, this would be a serious long shot. No fan spin. One last thing, I guess. I'm going to try thermal on the board when it pulses like that. It's not likely to be accurate given the fact that the board is hot. And as I thought, not accurate. So yeah, it's not long enough of a pulse. So that's it for this one for right this minute. This is most likely going to end up being either CPU issue, maybe BIOS, but it's probably going to lean to CPU. It almost always does.